Welcome in season 3, episode 13 of the Swishlist podcast. We are excited to talk about the NBA with you. We have a lot to discuss. Anthony Edwards, the third fastest, 10,000 points, and a double nickel in a losing effort to the Spurs. The Suns are on a roll. Jaylen Brown, once again, moving up the ladder in the MVP conversation. We've got one-on-one matchups. Why is the NBA a social media sport more so than the NFL? We'll talk a little bit about Darren Peterson. How do you stop teams from tanking at this point in the year and bald Wemby? Is there a possibility that Roman and I shave our heads bald? You have to listen to the episode to find out. We got a lot to go through, but we're going to start once again with Anthony Edwards. If you're new to the show, if you're new to the podcast, I'm one of the biggest Timberwolves fans you're ever going to listen to. There's not many of us, I tell you. And if there are, they're not running a podcast. And so anytime that I get to watch my guy, Anthony Edwards, just absolutely ball out, it's a treat. My son and I watched the game. It was so much fun. You know it's a great basketball game when your 3-year-old picks up a basketball and tries to shoot it like someone they just watched on TV. And that's what Anthony Edwards is in my house. Not a role model, but a great basketball player. He's the third fastest at 10,000 points. He passed Kobe Bryant in hitting that number, and then has the double nickel. Roman, what are you seeing from Anthony Edwards?
Seeing a star in the making. I mean, we've known this since he got to the league, but his production just continues to increase year by year. And I think that's no mistake, and it's something that needs to be noted. Third fastest to 10K, like, that's amazing. The names that are up there, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, like, that is elite company. And we've seen it year by year. He has increased his points per game every single year. He's just under 30 right now. I think that he will no doubt go down as one of the greatest scorers of all time with the trend that he's on. And I think it's just a necessary shout out to just attest to his greatness. And the Wolves are a team that'll probably be in that midsection when it comes to standings towards the postseason. But we know that they can take out just about anybody in a first round, second round. And you can almost bet that you're probably going to see them in the Western Conference Finals because we've seen it in the last few years. So shout out to Anthony Edwards for leading this team.
What's it going to take for Anthony Edwards to put himself in the top 3 player in the league conversation?
I mean, he's just so early on in his career right now. I think a few more years just to develop into that vet category, because as much as people want to talk about that isn't there, I think it is. Guys who are in year 5, year 6, they don't get as much love as a guy who's been in the league for 10 years, 11 years, regardless of what they're doing for a team. And I also think a finals appearance would do something great for him. Like if he can get to the biggest stage, because he hasn't been there yet, beat out this Western Conference that is so elite, because it seems like he's almost made it there, but then gets beat out by Luka, gets beat out by whoever it may be, depending on the year. Yeah, Shea. If he can make it to the finals, which it seems like the West is controlling, if he can make it to the finals, they're most likely going to win. It seems like the Western Conference Finals is going to be the finals. So I think just continue to allow him to grow into his greatness, instill the confidence in him, and make a finals run. Because I feel like Shea is getting that respect as MVP, finals MVP, wins a ring. If you can make it to that biggest stage and put on a show, which we know Anthony Edwards would, then I think he gets a little bit more respect. And it's a conversation of, is this guy one of the best in the league? Because I remember with Devin Booker, back when they made it to the finals, the biggest conversation was, he is the best shooting guard in the league. There's no doubt. Donovan Mitchell doesn't compete. He made it to the promised land, didn't win, but he got there. So I think just making it to that biggest stage within the next year or two would put him in that conversation of top 3 player in the league.
You're probably also hoping that maybe some of the guys that are in that spot, I look at a guy like Giannis that has the highest chance of falling out of a top 3 player in the league status. You look at what Jaylen Brown is doing and where they're at in the standings. I think that makes it difficult for Ant because he's a finals MVP, like you mentioned, gone to the finals multiple times. Question for you then, who's a bigger star right now, Tyrese Halliburton or Anthony Edwards?
Ooh.
Because Tyrese has a miracle run in the postseason, goes to the finals, and has a what if now, because if he doesn't get hurt, a lot of people think that they beat Oklahoma City. So I'm curious who you think's the bigger star.
I'm a Pacers fan. I'm a big Tyrese fan. But realistically, I think Anthony Edwards is the bigger star. I think leading into the playoffs last year and everything that did happen, Tyrese had him beat just with the run that he went on. I mean, he was the most talked about name throughout the playoffs, 100%. besides OKC's dominance. But I think overall you have to give it to Anthony Edwards, because Tyrese has been moved from a team, wasn't like a crazy trade in the NBA, and he's not averaging, high 20s in points. And he's one of the leading guys in assists, but he's not the talent. I shouldn't say talent. He's not the entertainer, the social media entertainer that Anthony Edwards already is. So I think overall, Ant is still above Tyrese, but peak, the guy who went to the finals. It's kind of going back to my point that I made before. I think that Tyrese has a beat as a peak, but overall, Ant has him beat.
I'm looking at the Phoenix Suns climbing in the standings. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. The first being the Rockets have been on a little bit of a skid. The Lakers are on a bit of a skid. But when I look at these games, what stands out to me is the Suns are a team right now that's the majority of their wins are coming against teams that are bottom half of the league teams or injured teams, right? They're beating the Wizards, they're beating the Grizzlies, they're beating the Kings, but they're losing to teams. I mean, they do have a win against the Thunder, so I do have to give them credit for that, but they're losing to the Rockets, they're losing to the Heat, they're losing to the Pistons, they're losing to they lose to teams that are pound for pound better than them, and they're beating everybody below them. So are the Suns for real? Is it fool's gold? What can we expect second half of the year?
No, this is a team that I would be afraid of in the playoffs, and I think sometimes the narrative of beating bad teams and losing to good teams gets mixed up. I think the NBA is different than any other league when it comes to this, because you play 82 games. You have to be able to beat bad teams. That's the difference between good teams and bad teams. Like, a win is a win is what I think comes most in sports, and accumulating those need to win games is really big in the NBA. So beating bad teams is necessary. I mean, the scouting report changes if a best player isn't playing. The New York Knicks don't have Jalen Brunson playing, which hurts your team. But then, you got to plan for a Deuce McBride who's had back-to-back 20-point games. So I think the NBA differs in the fact that a win is a win to me, regardless of if you're playing a bad team, a good team. Like, if you can go out there and get those wins, because injuries happen in the playoffs too, you're not going to get a fully healthy team throughout the playoffs. So if you can squeeze out multiple wins, get an away win when you need to, I like it. So this is the type of team that I would be afraid of going into a possible first round, because Dylan Brooks might randomly have a 25 piece, and Devin Booker just got hurt, unfortunately, with his ankle injury. Hopefully he's back soon, but Devin Booker, seasoned vet now, been doing this for 10 years. So this team has some confidence. They're a gritty team, and it's going to be a rough first round if you're going up against this team. So a win is a win to me.
I just want to see what this team looks like when they get Jalen Green. That's been my biggest thing. I feel like we have not. They make this big trade with Houston. They move Kevin Durant, and the primary asset that they got back, we really haven't gotten to see play yet. And now Dylan Brooks is playing really well. You have Devin Booker. How do you make all of those pieces fit minutes-wise when you get Jalen back? I'm really curious, because Jalen still has elite potential. His ability to attack the basket and score at the rim is awesome. And so I really want to see what this team looks like when they get him back.
Yeah, I agree. It's just it's so difficult, because you see these things, and Kevin Durant only playing with it was the Suns, a healthy Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. Like, when they played together, it was really good, but they got into a playoff series and you saw the chemistry issues because this team just hadn't played together. So hopefully we get him back soon, because you want your best competition. You want the stars playing. So this is a guy who can average 25 points per game, and he's an electric guy who can bring energy to that offensive end, which is something that I think they are missing, as another offensive piece to their team. So hopefully we get him back soon, because we're 40 games in now. So you need a guy like that on your team, especially heading into the second half of the season.
Roman, the Warriors are winning. They've won 7 of their last 10. Kuminga's asked for a trade. They're still winning games. Jimmy Butler's playing well. What is happening in Golden State, and are they going to make a move at the deadline?
They have to make a move. I think it would be the dumbest thing not to make a move, especially with a talent like Kuminga. I don't know what the reason is that they haven't done something yet, Probably just, I mean, teams just aren't looking for a package, I guess.
I don't think teams want a DNP coach's decision. I think
Yeah,
that's a big. I think it's a huge negative.
he hasn't been playing, so it's like, what are you actually getting out of him? We haven't seen him get 30 minutes a game, so we don't know what to expect from it. But Steph Curry's back. It seems since the new year, Jimmy Butler's playing like I shouldn't say the old Jimmy Butler, but Heat Jimmy Butler. Multiple 30 pieces, some 20 pieces in there. He's just scoring the ball a lot more, looking more aggressive for the team. Quentin Post has been their starting center, but Shake Milton's back, been playing a lot. So I think they're just getting their rotational players back besides playing Kuminga. But they're looking healthy, and they're only like 3 games out from getting into that mid-tier West that we've been talking about. So just a quick shout out to the Warriors for winning games even through all the controversy of their young talent.
I will say they have played more games than most of the teams that are ahead of them right now. They're 24-19 as of when we recorded this video. The Lakers have 24 wins, but only 16 losses, right? So the Warriors have played a lot of games. They're going to have a stretch where they're kind of sitting a little bit more. Rockets 25-15, right? So they've played more games to get to that total. And I think you're going to see a little bit more separation come as these mid-tier teams get some more games under their belt over the course of this next week. That's just my prediction. I don't believe the Warriors are going to get any higher than the 7 seed as we get into the playoffs. And I think that's one of their biggest issues with Kuminga is the fact that they're a fringe team, like fringe 8 seed postseason run type of team. If they were the 12 seed right now, I think they'd be playing Kuminga, shopping him for a trade. But because there's still an angle where they could do something in the postseason, they're just not willing to take the risks or to showcase an asset because how do you look Steph Curry in the eye and tell him that you're not trying to win a game?
It's very true. I mean, you can't deny one of the greats. So I'm hoping they work it out. But I mean, what's working it out at this point? You don't see a team that was a 10 seed through 7 seed end up making a huge playoff run. That's very rare to see. So I don't know.
I saw a great take this week talking about the Wemby versus Chet rivalry and how it's not fair that it's a rivalry, or it's not fair that people are going at Chet Holmgren that he should be playing better, when I think universally people would assume that Chet's the 3rd best player on the Thunder, and Wemby's a top 10, if not top 5 player in the league. So how would it ever be a rivalry between those two guys, that the rivalry should be Shea versus Wemby? What are your thoughts on that? Does it feel one-sided when you're watching these games? Because the Thunder did pick off the Spurs. They thumped them pretty good.
One-sided, I mean, it's the matchup. I mean, the only reason that this is a comparison is because these two happen to be around the same height and have to match up against each other. Like, it's not a conversation. Like, Chet's a very good player, but Wemby is truly one of a kind. Like, Chet's a lengthy guy who can shoot the ball, like very good in the league, no doubt. But it's not a conversation. Wemby's much better than what the talent that Chet is. And Chet also plays with a much better all-around team. The Spurs are developing into that, but OKC has established this with their role players and the energy that they played with and the growth of their talent, whereas the Spurs is, okay, we're going to build around Wemby. You're not building around Chet.
Yeah.
When Chet subs out of the game or when Chet's not playing, this isn't a completely different team on the defensive end. When Wemby goes out of the game, it's a completely different team. So I think the comparison is just the fact that Chet can match up against him because he's around his size, but I don't think he compares to Wemby at all.
Jalen Williams is out with another injury, sidelined for significant time. I want to remind you, the Thunder miracle run to start the year was when he was on the bench recovering from his injuries before. So is it possible that we get the early season Thunder back? And what does that mean for Jalen's future in Oklahoma City?
No, I think people were reading into that too much. I think it was bound to happen. This is the NBA. Like, you're going to lose games. Nobody goes 74-4. Like, that's not going to happen. These are all NBA players, NBA teams. So I think the crack started to show, which maybe could have been Jalen Williams' fault when he came back. But I just think it was bad timing, and he was the scapegoat for why they may have been losing some games. But we all know what he's capable of. It's not like he's a low-effort guy on the defensive end or anything like that. And it's unfortunate that he's going through these injuries. which I think just comes from a lack of playing. I mean, you sit out for that long and then you come back, you're probably going to have a random hamstring injury or calf injury. So hopefully he can get through it. I think we will see a few more games lost, especially with the timing right now, as heading into All-Star break is super important for a lot of these teams, and they've got some good matchups coming up. So I don't think it makes a difference, and I think they're going to lose some games no matter what.
Jaylen Brown moving up in the MVP conversation, partially because you've got players that were ahead of him that are injured. They're just not going to be in contention to win it. And also because he's been amazing this year. The Celtics are the 2 seed. I've got 2 questions for you. First, why is Anthony Simons playing so well as of late? And second, if the Celtics can keep this up, do they bring back Jason Tatum for a postseason run?
Well, with Anthony, we've seen this before. I mean, he got moved off of the Trailblazers in, I don't know, it's just kind of a interesting fashion. I didn't see people kind of freaking out about this. This is a guy who 2 years ago was averaging almost 23 and 5 a game. The mentor that Dame created, and you can see it in the way he plays. There's a lot of Dame coding in there. Like, he's very good. And I think he's just finally starting to get comfortable in Boston. I mean, the switch from playing from a fringe, team that's never winning in the Trailblazers, and you get all the minutes, you get everything you want because we're just trying to get draft picks and all this kind of stuff. But now he's playing for a team that's good. He's got a little bit of a confidence boost. We saw some random 20 pieces from him, but the explosion that he had was the Anthony Simons that I knew from the Trailblazers. And I think he's just finally started getting his feet under him. And this is just a young guy who's really talented. So I'm hoping that he can take this and just take off and be an extra side piece for Jaylen Brown as they go throughout the second half of the season, which I think he can be. I think he's very talented. So just a shout out to him for what he's doing. And for the second point, it's tough to say right now, but with the talent that Jason Tatum is, I mean, maybe if this was just a starting center for the team, if this was, Mitchell Robinson had tore his Achilles or something like that, but I mean, this is Jason Tatum. This is a when healthy top 5 talent in the league, 100%. I don't think he should rush it. I mean, Kobe didn't even rush this injury. Like, I know he's playing and everything, but they say this is the toughest injury to recover from. And I know your team is playing good, but like, just let them have their year. I like seeing players play. I like seeing healthy players. I would hate that 5 years from now, the conversation is Jason Tatum should have just not played because now he always deals with hamstring injuries, calf injuries. His leg has never been the same. So I think easing into it, just taking this time to fully recover and come back, because you don't become the same player. Kevin Durant had to change the way he played. Kobe Bryant changed the way he played. Jason Tatum is probably going to have to change the way he plays. It's not too much, but it's going to be different, and I don't want him to rush into it.
I agree. The Celtics have all the pieces to be great for the next 5 years, at least. Why would you jeopardize it over one season? It's not like this is a miracle. You guys were just coming off of a title recently. Everyone's overachieving on the roster, which is perfect for your next season. You want this type of momentum, and then you bring a Jason Tatum back. So I don't think that you should jeopardize that at all. And I also don't think that you're going to bring Tatum back with enough time to develop enough chemistry to have a legitimate title run. If he comes back and it's the postseason, or with 10 games left before the postseason, it's going to get clunky and weird.
Yeah, this is not a Jokic coming off of an injury after playing the first 30 games. These guys, if he did come back at the end of the season, these guys have played 70 games without him. Like,
Exactly.
that becomes a completely different team with the amount of possessions he takes up, the type of player that he is. It just changes up the whole team. So I think from a team standpoint, you leave it alone. Your team is the 2 seed without you. Let them have their year. We all know who you are, Jason Tatum, but let them do their thing. Just see how it plays out and don't risk your future.
Let's talk about Ja Morant. Ja Morant posts a double-double, puts on online, hey, I've got Memphis tatted on my back. I don't want to leave, but also buys a multi-million-dollar estate in Miami, which that sparked a lot of conversation He also has the viral argument with a teammate, which I don't read into at all. Teammates get in fights every single day. You just don't see it on social media. Roman, I want to ask you, do you think that John Morant wants out of Memphis? Personally, I I do think he'd entertain a change of scenery. If he went to as long as he still gets to maintain a spot where he's a top option. I don't think he wants to get moved somewhere where he becomes the second guy to someone that's already a face of the franchise player. I don't think he's at that stage of his career. What do you think?
It's just tough to say because, I mean, the contradictions are unbelievable. We talk about, oh, John Morant just bought this $3 million home in Miami, but then I've got this team tatted on my back. I don't want to go anywhere. But is this maybe just because, you play back-to-back games versus the Magic? The Magic don't, I mean, the Grizzlies don't do very good in the first matchup, but then the Grizzlies don't do very good in the first matchup, but then in the second matchup when Ja's playing, it's a dominant win for the Grizzlies, and he reclaims the franchise. I mean, of course he's going to be feeling on top, and yeah, this is my place. I do this here. I don't know where to go with it. I do think he's getting moved, but is this his chance to just be like throughout his career? I never wanted to leave Memphis. We can talk about it. Remember what I said? Remember what I was saying during all the trade rumors that I didn't want to get moved? The team moved me, sort of a to save your legacy type of thing. That's how I'm seeing it right now. Because if he truly did buy a home, you're out, man. You don't want to be here.
Yeah, but guys want to go to Miami all the time. Like, he's got millions and millions of dollars.
Okay, so you think this was just a buy at this time?
Dude, I think if I had $100 million, I'd probably have a house in Miami too. That's all I'm saying.
It's valid, but just the timing seems really weird. I feel like that's something that you would do during an off season, but he is injured. I mean, there's so much personal stuff that goes into it that we just don't know about.
Yeah, 100%. The narrative is true. We don't discredit Michael Jordan for saying he wanted to get traded. We don't discredit Kobe Bryant for saying he wanted to get traded because the trades didn't happen, right? So if Ja is, putting his own name out there, but then denying it publicly, in the future,
He can say Memphis gave up on him.
History's on his side in the future, if that's what happens. He might be able to bake his cake and eat it too.
All right, Moses, I've got some one-on-one matchups for you. We got 1 through 5. So I've got Damian Lillard versus Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was getting buckets on guys way taller than him. I just don't think Dame is going to be able to stay in front of him. From an athleticism standpoint, this feels like AI all the way.
At the 2 spot, we've got Devin Booker versus Bradley Beal.
I'm going to take prime Devin Booker as a tough shot maker. I think he, from a set position, is just going to get better looks, make more looks. I think Bradley has more athleticism, but not enough for it to be an overwhelming advantage. I'm going to go Devin Booker.
At the 3 spot, I've got an interesting one for you. Jason Tatum versus Giannis.
In one-on-one?
Yeah.
I'm going to go Giannis here. It takes multiple people to stop Giannis. I understand you're most likely talking like 3 dribbles, but Giannis is 7 feet tall. He's ridiculously athletic. He's too strong, and he will look to dunk the basketball on Tatum repeatedly. I'm going to take Giannis here.
Okay. The 4 spot, we've got Anthony Davis versus Blake Griffin. Prime. Both prime.
Prime. I think Blake's game is more dependent on a point guard. Anthony Davis has a solid mid-range, post moves, incredible defender. I'm going to go Anthony Davis, but he probably gets hurt in the game.
And then at our 5 spot, we got Dwight Howard versus DeMarcus Cousins.
Okay, this is
offense for defense here.
Yeah. Well, Dwight had a little offensive bag. He had that running hook shot that he would go to.
But he's got some defense too, right?
I think that too many people have a recency bias when it comes to Dwight Howard. Prime Dwight Howard was a freak of nature. He was great. This is Dwight Howard. I'm going to lean on his bag. He's got some post moves. We'll put him down below so you can watch him. But this isn't Lakers Dwight Howard. This is prime Orlando Superman Dwight. I'm going Dwight.
It's a valid pick. That's the one-on-ones. Good picks, Mo. I liked it. That was good.
Okay, here's my question for you, Roman. You're starting a franchise. You get to pick one of these guys. I want you to put them in order. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh, that's tough. It's very tough.
Good luck.
It's impossible, man. Well, I think I know my one spot. It's LeBron, 100%. If you're starting a franchise, it has to be LeBron. It doesn't matter what coach you give me. It doesn't matter what system you give me. Like, it's going to work out with LeBron James. I think the statistics prove that. The dominance over multiple years proves that. The legacy over 23 years proves it. So I think that I can, with confidence, put LeBron James at my number one spot. And then at the two, ooh, I still got Mike, Kobe, Magic, and Shaq, right?
Yeah.
Two's got to be Mike. There's no better peak of a player than Michael Jordan. I also think Michael Jordan just attracts the attention of everybody. So if you want a franchise player, it's 100% Michael Jordan. All your flashy highlights, but also the intensity, the winner's mentality. Like, you can guarantee that you are going to get the product of Michael Jordan out of Michael Jordan. So he takes the 2 spot. And then this is where it gets...
It's getting scary. It's getting scary now.
Because Kobe is not as dominant coming into the league. Shaq, Magic wins a finals MVP his first year. I think that... Ooh. It's impossible, man. Do I want to connect? If I put Magic 3, another all-around amazing player. I feel like the energy's there. You can build around a Magic. You can put shooting around him and everything. But Magic also wins because he has Kareem on his side. But Kobe wins because he gets Shaq. Shaq gets his rings because he has Kobe.
And LeBron wins because he has Wade and Kyrie.
But that's some of his rings. He's been tried everywhere.
MJ wins because he got Scotty.
Just proving that it's a team sport.
100%.
But purely starting a franchise, I think the next player that I have to go, Shaq, honestly. I think the overall dominance of a career, you need a good center. And Shaq is the most dominant center that we've ever seen play the game. You know, in the playoffs, you're going to get your 30 and 15 from him, which I think is something that you can't guarantee a lot from centers. So I think I'm just going to put him because he is the most dominant center. I'm going to put him at the 3 spot. 4, I can't believe I'm doing this. I got to go Magic. Another all-round great. But it's close. I mean, both players have 5 rings, but Magic immediately grows into his greatness. Finals MVP from year 1. Takes over the team, dominates for 10 years. I know he has great pieces around him, but that team doesn't work unless he is there. And then, unfortunately, at my bottom spot, it's Mamba mentality. And I think it's just because shorter time. The 90s it's not Kobe's team. Shaq has to join in order for that to develop. Kobe out of these guys is more of the, I can't even say, not even like a shot chucker or anything like that, but
you can say
Kobe,
that in some of Kobe's best years was when the Lakers were at their worst with Kobe.
Yeah.
Like some of his best
but I think what comes with that is the
Shaq
fact that he's playing against this elite West. Like, he always has to match up against Tim Duncan.
He also didn't have a great roster. I mean, they were rolling out Farmar.
I mean, if those teams had won, if he beats the Suns, those guys don't get discredited as much because they play more, they have more playoff series, they make it to the finals a bit more, and it's like that those players are a lot better because they go deeper. So I think that's a great point with Kobe.
They're still saying Lamar Odom was smoking crack. That's still going to happen. That clip is still going to happen.
So I think Kobe just takes my last spot because of the slower start to the career, and the dominance as an individual player is in there in the 2000s, but there is a few years of the Suns beating him, the Spurs beating him. So that's why he's going to have to be my last pick.
You get a lot of volatility out of your star. You get more volatility out of him as your star than really anybody else. It's like him and Shaq are the most volatile stars. in terms of
Yeah,
like players playing with them, people playing around them. If I was going to change anything in today's NBA, I would put Magic at the bottom. I don't believe that Magic's game translates as
Ben
well or
Simmons.
well enough in today's league. And it's not a discredit on Magic. It's the fact that he grew up with no 3-point line. So it wasn't a part of his game because it didn't exist. So it's not a knock. It's just a reality. I would move Kobe up above Magic. Shaq would definitely be above Magic. I'm okay with LeBron at 1 and MJ at 2.
It's a tough one. That is a
Oh,
tough one.
now here's something I want to talk about. I want to ask you, Roman, why is the NBA a social media sport? And why is it more of a social media sport compared to the NFL? I feel like the NFL, families sit down in front of the television and they're ready to watch a 3-hour game of football. You're on your phone, you're grabbing food, you might fall asleep and take a nap midway through the third quarter, but it is a sit down and watch it type of league. And the NBA is a open your phone and watch on Instagram or TikTok type of league. Why is that?
Let's go with 3 main points. The first one is just it's a longer season. I mean, 82 games compared to 17 games is a huge difference. People don't care about the first. I mean, most people don't care until the NFL is over, which is 60 games into the NBA season. And it's like, why do we need to watch when I can just watch the highlights, look at the stats? That's all that really matters, because it seems like teams don't try until we get to those last 20 games. So my first reasoning would just be it's a long season. Teams are playing 3 to 4 games every single week. So why would I need to tune in at this point when I'm just getting the same thing over and over again? My next point would be it's more of a highlight driven league. People care about the flashy dunks. People care about the cool step back threes. People care about the highlights more than compared to an NFL game. In the NFL, it's the entire game that makes the great product. You have multiple drives, but you also have the defensive end of it. In the NBA, it's just more back and forth. Like you play both sides of the ball immediately, but in the NFL, there's a little bit more factors to it of you have 11 guys on, 11 guys off. So I think it's just more of a highlight league in the NBA because there's less players on the league. There's more opportunity for highlights in short form. And then my third point would just be there's more faces to it. There's more faces to the league. So it's easier to clip these guys. It's easier to make short content out of them because you get a character attached to a player. In the NFL, they have the helmets, which I think is a very big thing to the NFL. Like the characters that you get in the NFL, you don't really get to see their emotions unless they're physically showing them. Their faces are covered. You get more of an outward angle because you have to show 22 players on the field. In the NBA, it's guys screaming at the refs every single minute. It's guys complaining about every single call. It's communication the entire time between every single player that's on the court compared to the NFL where you got both sides of the ball. You have 22 different positions that people have to play. So that's my reasoning. That's my top 3.
I think there's just a real investment in every aspect of players when it comes to the NBA. We want to know what real estate they're buying. We want to know where they're shopping in the offseason. We want to know what clothes they're wearing to the stadium. We want to know who had 30 points tonight, who had a 40 piece tonight, who had that random 50 piece in this season. You get Anthony Black dunking on 4 people, like just this crazy one-off play. And I think a lot of that comes from David Stern personally. I think David Stern really wanted this type of NBA, and we've just had a long-standing tradition of following these guys. And in the NFL, outside of quarterbacks, maybe a wide receiver, a running back, and a defensive end, even fans of teams can't name all 22 starters. You got a lot of guys that can't name their left guard. You got a lot of guys that don't know who their nickel cornerback is or their strong side safety. And that's just the truth of the league. In basketball, you could name starting fives and not watch a single game. You could look at a player like Steven Adams, who's now kind of like coming off the bench, and you've known Steven Adams for a decade. That's just kind of where basketball is. You know these names and you're following these guys, and they want it too, right? They want to be big on social media. They're pushing their own brands and starting their own companies, and you see way more basketball podcasts than you do NFL player podcasts. Like they're just as much invested in the media engine as anybody else, for sure.
think it's a great point. There's just so much more players. I think that's not something that gets talked about. Like, you have 22 guys on the field at all time compared to 10 guys, and then that's not even talking about your benches. I mean, an NFL bench has you got 50 players over there, but the NBA you got at max 13 to 15 players.
Well, here's another. NBA players are coming into the league at 19, right? Like they're coming in at 19 years old. These guys they're young. They're on their phones. They like everything that's relevant on social media is relevant to them. And in the NFL, guys aren't coming out until junior year, senior year. You got undrafted guys. You have older players. You have a lot more people with families in the NFL. And so there's just less of an inclination to be on social media. I think when you're at that stage of life, where these NBA guys, I mean, they're kids. They're coming in as kids. If you got something that we missed, feel free to let us know in the comments. We want to know. Speaking of young players, Darren Peterson, I mean, he had that game recently where I think he missed 2 shots in the entire game. He's pulling Kobe Bryant comparisons right now.
It's unheard of.
I don't know of anyone that's pulled Kobe as the comparison. We've seen MJ comparisons mainly for athleticism, but Darren's getting Kobe comparisons because of the tough shot making and the 3-level scoring. What are your thoughts on Darren Peterson in this Kobe Bryant comparison right now?
Well, it's accurate. He's so poised. Like there's not a player that plays college basketball that has as much control over the game as he does. I mean, he came off an injury and it just seemed like it did not matter. Like he immediately controlled the game. It doesn't even look like he's playing at 100% the whole time. He's just, I know I'm going to get to my spot. I know what I'm doing. Nobody can stop me. This is just the type of player he is. And if you're looking at, a number 1 draft pick, if you're going for potential, obviously you might take a guy like AJ. You might take the boozer. But if you're looking at somebody who's going to be the guy who is the most consistent, will give you production from the start, it is 100% Darren Peterson. The Kobe comparisons, maybe not completely accurate, but usually when you have a guy coming into the league, his college comparisons are not Kobe Bryant. They're not Michael Jordan. I mean, the Michael Jordan comparisons for Anthony Edwards came in year 3 and year 4 of his NBA career. To get Kobe comparisons while you're still in college, it's an incredible nod. I don't know if it's completely valid because, I mean, we're talking about Kobe Bryant. But no, he is an incredible player, and I don't think there's anybody like him in college basketball.
Darren Peterson is the most NBA-ready player that I have seen, the most NBA-ready freshman that I've seen since Derrick Rose. He looks like he shouldn't be in college, genuinely. His game is so refined. He has all the poise. He gets to his spots. He's tactical about the way he's playing basketball. He knows what he's going to do when he has the ball in his hands. AJ, I think, still needs to refine his game. I think there are times he gets in the half court and he doesn't quite know what he's going to do, but he's just so athletic that he figures out a way to score the basketball. If you're looking at potential, I really like guys like Koa Pete. I think Koa is going to be great. I like Caleb. Those guys all have athleticism, the size. They have NBA size, all of those things. But Darren Peterson is an NBA player today playing in college. Like, he is an NBA player. I have not seen a more NBA-ready player in college since Derrick Rose. With that being said, I would still draft AJ number 1 overall personally, and that's no knock at all on Darren. He's just the guy that I would personally take. I don't think you could go wrong drafting either guy. I really don't. I think both are great. I don't believe in Boozer as an NBA player at all. I think that's the miss. If you get the 3rd pick, complete miss. You'd rather be in 4th and take Caleb than be in 3rd and take Boozer personally. But if you get one of the top 2, man. And Darren, if he continues to play like this, I think a lot of people will stop. They won't even pay attention to the injuries that he's had already this year. So I hope he stays healthy. Great player. Now, speaking of teams who want the number 1 pick, Roman, if you're Adam Silver, how do you stop teams from tanking halfway through the season?
I don't know. Tanking is such an annoying thing to me. I think the incentive should be somehow somehow random. Like we need to somehow randomize what type of picks that these teams are getting. Yeah, maybe you don't get a better odds from being the worst team in the league. If you wanted to make it completely fair, my best idea would be, they rotate where the All-Star game is every single year. It's all 30 teams get a slot every single year. If you wanted to make it completely fair, you would just rotate who gets the number one pick every single year. And now that wouldn't be ideal, of course, for, small market teams and things like that. But if you wanted to make teams not to tank, I think that's a great idea.
I
so
think
the answer to your question is that.
I think you should play for it. I genuinely think you should play for it. I think that more people would watch a tournament to get the number one pick than the NBA Cup. Genuinely. If you told me that the bottom 8 teams, basically every team that misses the postseason, plays a bracket tournament to get the top, to determine what pick you get, I would watch that.
But then the bottom teams are never going to get anything, Moses. A team that's underdeveloped doesn't have the talent, maybe had a couple years of bad drafting, that would just continue to push the lower teams deeper and deeper, wouldn't it?
I don't think so. Okay, if you told me that do you genuinely think there's a big difference between the Hornets, the Nets, and the Wizards?
No, but that's naming the 3 worst teams. What about the other teams that aren't making the playoffs?
Okay, but listen.
I guess if you did sections, that would make more sense to me.
Well, look at the teams that are already making the play-in, right? You already have a play-in. So you're not talking about the 9th to the 15th teams. The play-in teams still go to the postseason. They don't get to play in this tournament. Okay, so I am specifically talking about the teams that miss the play-in completely. And maybe it is the bottom 4 teams in the East and the bottom 4 teams in the West. And maybe you're playing for increase in odds instead of getting the actual pick. But I feel like if you're not going to do what the NFL does, which is the worst team gets the number 1 pick and the best team gets the 32 pick, then you gotta give me some reason to want to watch these teams do something at some point in the season. Because the fact that we're at this point, the Pelicans are 10-35, they're not trying to win games. The Wizards at 10-31 aren't trying to win anything. The Pacers can't win anything because they don't have Tyrese. No one's faulting the Pacers. But, something has to happen at some point.
Yeah, I think the draft lottery, it's just stupid. It's fake. And I don't like it because I think the bottom feeder teams will just stay at the bottom. The Wizards have been a terrible team for so long, and I don't think that they would get a good pick ever. I don't think it would happen. And I just don't think that matters. So I think the best solution is, like you said, tweaking mine from rotating the 30 teams, but just going to how the NFL does it. Worst team gets the best player. That's how you even the playing field.
I agree.
But I just don't like. I don't like lottery. What are we doing? Are we serious?
If we got to the draft and I told you the Hornets, the Nets, the Wizards, the Jazz, the Kings, and the Pelicans, that none of those teams get the number 1 pick, you wouldn't be shocked. If I came and I told you, hey, can't believe it, the Portland Trailblazers somehow got the number 1 pick, or the Chicago Bulls just randomly ended up with the number 1 pick.
There's just also something so special for a team who had a terrible year. You have something to look forward to in the NFL. In the NBA, you don't have that.
You don't, because you could be awful and then end up with the 7th pick in the draft. And it's just, there's no hope at all.
At all. It's what hurts the league, man. Oh, we have the worst shot at getting the first pick. There's just too many examples of it. Luka gets traded, Mavericks get the number 1 pick. Spurs get their generational talent. LeBron James and the whole he leaves, the Cavs get the number 1 pick, all that kind of stuff. Like
Derrick Rose.
It's just Derrick Rose, hometown hero.
Anthony Davis.
Too much of it.
Zion Williamson.
There's too much of it. And it's so easy to discredit the league as a whole from that kind of stuff.
Patrick
we want the good teams to stay as the
Magic
best teams.
Johnson.
Yeah. But in the NFL, if you make a great team, it's like you made that. We drafted these guys. Like we did this. We had our bad years so we could draft good. But in the NBA, it's like Spurs or they barely missed the playoffs. We've got high hopes for this team. They had the rookie of the year, and we're gonna give them Wemby. If we're being realistic, Wemby should be on the Wizards right now or a really bad team.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know what's crazy to me? It's crazy to think that the NBA used to have a 10-round draft. What is that? Why was that real?
This is where all the plumber allegations were coming from.
Did you know, I think it's in like 1960, they had a 21-round draft. And I think they did it again in like 1968. There's like multiple drafts that were like 20 rounds. Then in the 70s, I think for a decade, from 74 to 84, it's a 10-round draft. Then it goes down to 7. And then they just randomly are like, okay, we're going to go down to 2.
If you were a good YMCA hooper. If you were a good YMCA hooper and were under the age of 25, you were probably getting drafted in the 60s.
Great chance half of those picks were just nepotism. Could you imagine it like in the league today? A 7-round draft? What? What are you doing with a 7th-round pick? There's no one to draft. Like, nobody's making the league, dude.
No, I think 2 rounds is perfect. There's just a tiny league. There's not enough players.
You could maybe make a case for a 3rd, but then you're just cutting guys to cut guys. That's a lot of expenses you're putting on the books that you can keep off if you just do 2 rounds. I think it's fine. I just think it's funny that, hey, man.
Could you imagine if that was still a thing?
A 10-round draft? A 10-round draft?
A dude who's averaging 30 at a D2, just getting drafted. Yeah, you're going to work out for us. We'll see how you do. Would open up a lot more opportunity, but...
Would it, though?
Well, this is my thing with it. Now that players can just go back to college...
Listen,
you can go to the combine and go back.
But Roman, like, that's 300 players getting drafted. So, yeah, those guys would just be going back to college. Good night.
But imagine the opportunity. I look at Cedric Coward, who didn't have a very long college career, and then he's taken off, and this is really cool. Could you imagine if you got these guys and they
to play? He wouldn't have played, you idiot.
But you don't. Yeah, yes, they would have. What are you talking about? Because if they moved to a bigger draft, then you're going to get more opportunity. I think it could be something interesting.
If you had a draft that big, it'd be the equivalent of like high school basketball tryouts. Hey, the coaches are here watching this gym, but you're going to play over there. Good luck. That's what.
Yeah, and you might get your one gem. You get your Cinderella stories. I like that. I think that would be hilarious.
This isn't an Air Bud movie, Roman.
Moses, if the guys couldn't go back to school after. Yeah, but this was happening at some point. So it's like it's happened in history.
There were less teams.
Okay, but you talked about in 84. Like to 84, there was 10. And we added 2 teams. Come on. I'm just saying, if guys can enter into the combine and now they can just go back to their school.
Yeah.
Imagine the guys who are NBA ready who just don't get the opportunity.
You just can't.
I think it could be interesting. No, they can go back. That's my exact point, is they don't lose anything by trying out for the team.
If you get drafted in the 6th round, you show up to some camp to see if you get cut or not, and then you just hit the portal and you end up in Middle Tennessee State.
Exactly. Exactly my point.
Well, let's close the podcast with this. Victor Wembanyama loses to the Thunder, decides he's going to shave his head, went full monk status. Him and Keldon. Roman, what would it take for you to shave your head bald? I know you're growing out dreads right now. What would it take to make you restart, shave your head? I need to know right now.
Oh, some type of achievement. I think we've talked about this a little bit, but some type of goal for our podcast, I think would make me want to shave my head like that, because that's what's important. I mean, you set the goal for me. What are we shaving our heads at?
Listen, we had 100,000 followers. We both shave our heads.
I'm down for it. I like it.
We both shave our heads. We buy a Wemby jersey and we buy a
Keldon Johnson jersey.
Yeah, we buy a Wemby jersey, a Keldon Johnson jersey, and we have to do an episode.
Okay. When is our deadline? Are we saying by the time the season's over? Our final episode would be that?
Okay, 100,000 followers by the end of the NBA season. We both have to shave our heads and dress up like Keldon and Wemby for a podcast episode. Like 100%. 100,000 followers, we do it.
I'm gonna be our biggest hater. I don't think we're hitting 100,000 followers. So if it does happen, mark my words, all these dreads are coming off my head.
I'm willing to go the opposite way to also say I will grow my hair out until we hit 50,000.
Are you serious?
I might.
That boy
Gladly
goes with
lose.
some crazy curls.
Listen, I'll still give myself like a low taper. I'm not trying to like act like I'm not going to cut anything, but I don't know. Hair to my
I
shoulders.
like it.
Maybe I
I
should
like
say I'll
it.
grow it out till 10K. I don't know. 50's crazy.
50 crazy. 50 is
50.
crazy.
50's actually crazy. We may never get there.
Nah, we gonna get there. Just watch. As soon as the NFL season's over.
Well, Roman's predicting as soon as the NFL season's over, we're going to blow up. And that only happens because of you. Yes, you. I'm breaking the third wall. You, active listener of the podcast right now. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for being with us, riding with us, season 3, episode 13. This is, the better part of an hour of your life that you spent listening to me and Roman talk about basketball. It's so much fun. We're going to keep this up. Once again, we post every single week, one podcast a week, and clips on all social media channels. So please go to YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, whatever platform you use, and give us a follow. Hit the subscribe button and make sure to send this podcast to a few friends. And while you're there, let us know what you want to hear us talk about on the pod. We are open to ideas, and we are happy to talk about the NBA and what it is that you want to hear on the next episode.
Yeah, like Moses said, I would buy your stock now. I would say that you were a Swishlist podcast fan right now, because a couple years from now, you're going to wish you had some screenshots of, interacting with us.
We're going to be doing a little bit of traveling this week. I can't tell you what the travel is, but I just want you guys to know, if you watch our stories on Wednesday this week, you might see us traveling somewhere in the world. You might see some new content you've never seen from us before. So stay tuned. We got some big things.
For real, big things coming from the Swishlist this week, heading into the offseason for the NFL. Your boy's about to become a reality TV star in a week. So big things are happening for the Swishlist podcast. Hey, Monday, January 26th. Everybody tune in, and I'll be reminding you next week too. But if you want to see me try and survive out in the wild with my mom and my brother trying to get me supplies, tune in. Something to send us off right.
I got to ask you one question. Go
ahead.
Obviously, Roman, you have way more siblings than your one brother, Dallas. I'm your brother. Did you mention any of us at all while you were out there, even one time? Or did you forget about us?
While I was out there?
Yeah. Did you even say our names? Did you even think about us at all? Be honest.
Of course I did. I can't say how long I was out there for, regardless. Even if I was out there for a day, if I was out there for 100 days, I'm just sitting there for most of the time, not really doing anything.
Did you climb a tree and go, Andre, this is for you? At some point, I need to know if we're going to have.
I'll give you examples of everything.
Yeah,
I would say days where I may have not had food, something like that. I was thinking of my sister Scotland, because she's done a 10-day fast before. So I would look into the camera and be like, it doesn't matter that I don't have food. My sister went 10 days without food. So shout out to you, Scotland. You're motivating me out here.
Nice.
Anytime I was bored, I would start talking about basketball, and I would relate it back to a podcast that I have with my brother. My brother Moses, the guy right by me. So basketball came up more than anything. Everybody who was, I shouldn't say too much, but Roman will be remembered for talking about basketball while he was out there and relating everything to his podcast and shouting out his podcast. Dallas was motivating me because I knew if I did anything wrong out there, he was going to call me a dumbass, which they put in our trailer, him calling me a dumbass.
Yes, they did.
So my motivation to be a consistently good person while I was out there, not making mistakes, was because I was going to get ridiculed by my older brother. So shout out to him. He got lots of shout outs. And then Andre, anytime I just thought of any random thing that would come to my head, and I just went off on a rant, I would be like, this is Andre's type of thing. Andre's so passionate about very specific things. And I would just be like, what I just did reminded me of my brother Andre. So all of my siblings, all of my full siblings got plenty of reactions. And shout out to my step siblings too. You guys got shout outs as well. But every person that I know was getting shout outs while I was out there, no doubt. If I could get all the footage, I would send it to every single person that I know and be like, hey, this is where I was talking about you, by the way. So
Yeah, that's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. Once again, big things this week from us. If you're listening to the pod, keep an eye out for clips from us on social media. Once again, updates. Check our socials this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to have some really, really cool content we're going to be posting on those days. So stay tuned there. And then that leads directly into Monday, the 26th. You will want to go on Fox, on Hulu the following day. Go and watch Extracted Season 2, where you get to see Roman and whether or not he is able to brave the wild. No supplies. This
You'll
guy.
have to find out.
Man,
Did I do it?
This man had never even heard of REI before the show, okay? I just want you guys to know what you like where he was coming from before he did this. Bro was like, they told me to buy some stuff. I never heard of REI. I said, oh no. But I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I couldn't have done it. I could not have done it. I don't think I would have made it 6 hours. So it's so fun. I'm so excited to get to watch the show that, a couple people in my family have been so excited about. So we're rambling at this point. So now if you're still with us, good night.
We appreciate
Season 3,
you.
Episode 13, Swishlist Podcast. We are out.